I'm sorry, you don't fit into this.
I don't personally believe that all insecurities come from a place of reality.
Your brain doesn't know the difference.
Hello and welcome to episode number 6 on Manarchy podcast. Today we're going to talk about insecurity, how to identify insecurity, where did it come from, it is something to be ashamed of, and a lot more topics on it. With me, you've got Chris and you've got Sumit. Hello, how are you doing?
Nice to see you again.
All right,
Nice to be
Chris,
here.
let me give you the opening gambit. What is insecurity?
A fantastic question. How do you define insecurity? Look, I think it's one of those things that is entirely contextual. It's all independent, all dependent on the individual, how they experience the feeling of insecurity. Because I think it's quite a broad term, and I think it's a term that's kind of thrown around. And sometimes definitions of words can become a little bit skewed to mean things that they don't necessarily mean in an attempt to make somebody feel a certain way, right? So, for example, I might set boundaries for myself as an individual, what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept. And when people don't appreciate or respect those boundaries, they might deem those things insecure as a means to be lowering my standards or my boundaries or not respecting them altogether. By and large, I think insecurity is really just the feeling of inadequacy. So you in whatever capacity that is, whether it's relationship or friendships, professional, working life, or whatever it is, not being able to live up to what's being expected of you, perhaps, or maybe even what you expect of yourself. So yeah, that would be my definition of what I think insecurity actually is.
Sumit?
Man, you stole some of the thoughts I had in my head.
I guess.
Yeah. But I drill down even more to the core definition of the word itself, right? I mean, if you were just to look at what the core word is, what's the foundation word? Secure. Anything that makes you feel less secure about yourself, an emotion that throws you off that balance. And insecurities can be, of course, of various types. It's contextual. It could be based off your experiences or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's an emotional, it's a feeling that's coming where in that particular instant, for that particular interaction or experience, you're feeling less secure. Now, it could be unfounded. It could be real. It could be by external stimuli, any number of reasons. Where it comes from and what the context is, insecurity by itself is you just feeling a lack of security that you have control over that emotion, that experience.
How would you define security then in your terms?
You understanding that emotion and having some semblance of control over it.
Right.
So in that particular experience, the emotion that you felt, whether that was perception, whether that was even something as simple as and clearly defined as anger, coming from a place of insecurity is it hit something that made me feel a little less secure about me having control over my emotions, my thoughts.
Which is usually true, by the way.
Correct. That's exactly what it is. And then that leads you to react in a variety of ways as a function of you feeling less secure.
Yeah. I don't think that you can feel insecure about things that aren't true. Right? So, for instance, if you say something to me which makes me feel insecure in some sort of way, if it's not true, there's no reason for me to feel that way. Right?
But I think you will still take it.
You think so?
I'll tell you what.
Tell me.
You've gone a bit deeper. Let me still go deeper.
Yeah, sure.
I think we all are born with insecurities. We all are born with it. You see, a baby is insecure till a mother caresses, carries a baby in her arms.
Okay. That's more a need-based insecurity.
A need-based insecurity. Now you're 6+. You're 6+, right? I'm like 5'7". I've done a couple of ads. I've done a bit of modeling. Is more into commercial. I love doing the ramp walk, the runaway, what they say. I want to get there. I know I can do it. I know I can face the audience. But then here comes, you're not tall enough.
No, but then that's
You're not good enough.
Yeah, I'll get to that part.
To do the runway, because this is the criteria. You understand? You would love to be. I mean, I would love to get into acting. All right? But then, okay, this is the criteria. I'm sorry. You don't fit into this. Losing confidence is insecurity.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you.
Even though you're good at something, but if somebody keeps on telling you all the time that you're not good, not good, not good, you lose that confidence. However good you are.
There's so many surrounding factors to that, right? I
Exactly.
mean, for example, that insecurity, let's say you've got an insecurity of your height. Now that's a function of the exposure you've had to a lot of sociocultural factors, a lot of experiences where that's been harped on about. So number one is the amount of exposure you've had to those conversations,
Yeah.
right? Or the ads and the TV shows and the music and everywhere where 6 feet and above has been touted as being the ideal man.
Ideal
right?
man.
So that's part of it, right? The other part of it is also the receiving end. Like you over here, you have a barrier in front of you. I'm confident. I'm good at what I do. I am perfect as I am. And I'm happy in my being. And then you keep on attacking and attacking and attacking, and your resolve breaks down, leading to an insecurity. Going back to the point that I wanted to mention when you said it, I don't personally believe that all insecurities come from a place of reality. Because a lot of the times it is a perception-based insecurity.
True.
I am currently insecure about, just the way people would perceive me when I'm in a social setting. Right. I'm insecure. I'm just like, is everyone going to like me? Is everyone going to like me? And the weird part is, more often than not, I've been told that most people like talking to me and they enjoy conversations with me, and I'm fairly good at being together.
Which is validation from others.
Yes.
Isn't it?
But I'm still insecure about the setting.
How does one identify insecurity? What is the crux of
very interesting question.
Like you feeling insecure? Like you walk into a certain place, or you walk into your own kind of profession, what you're doing. Does it really bother you that, am I good enough to do a presentation for my business?
Yeah, I think from that
What
point
if
of
he
view,
says no?
Yeah.
What happens then? Because I don't want to lose this contract. All right? And you're walking there towards your presentation. What is it that you need to identify there and there itself, saying, I'm going to ace this?
Look, I think, if I talk from my own personal standpoint as a coach, I can say that I've worked in places where there have been some elite, world-class coaches, that I've been fortunate enough to learn from. But when by the way, it's very easy for me to feel insecure in that environment, particularly when I first started out. And even now, if I'm, in a room of very competent coaches, if I was the type of person to compare myself to other people, that might lend itself to feeling insecure. But the truth is that I might be a world-class coach myself. I do believe I am. It starts here. And so whether I am, there's the old saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right? And this is the truth. So at the end of the day, how I feel about myself, how confident I am in my own ability is really all that matters. And the not having the need to compare myself to other coaches to say, okay, well, he looks like he knows what he's doing, or she looks like, she gets good results or whatever it is. That's all great. But so do I.
But then you don't think it's a function of two things then here? Confidence in yourself.
Yes.
And the other side is when you don't have the confidence, then you fake it till you make it.
Yes, there is that as well. Yeah,
Lie
absolutely.
to yourself until it becomes true.
I mean, look, there is a scientific fact that if you're feeling sad and you just smile for 60 seconds, your brain doesn't know the difference. And it's the same thing,
and
right?
You start feeling better.
You start feeling better. And so, you're changing the chemicals, swirling around in your body, and now all of a sudden you don't feel sad anymore. Same thing, you can, I suppose lying is probably a little bit over the top. I would probably say false positive reinforcement.
False positive reinforcement.
Because I'll tell you why. I mean, at times, you tell people, listen, can you just face the camera? Not everybody can.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
When you talk to them one-to-one, they're good. But when they come, in front of the camera, they just can't. So is it something to be ashamed of? That basically I'm not able to actually relate to other people who are sitting there. I would love to do that, but I don't know how to start, how to begin with it. Because I'm not confident, I'm kind of insecure that I might slip. I must say something where the audience won't like you. I might do something where, maybe my partner will say, buddy, it's time to go. You know what I'm saying? Is it something to be ashamed of?
It's a function of confidence, isn't it? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, your insecurity of, like, let's say, speaking into a camera, looking directly into it, is you're literally peering into the unknown. Here, I have someone who, I mean, we've got a relationship. We know each other. We can read each other's cues. There, I can't read anything. So, looking into the unknown is a little disconcerting, right?
Isn't it?
It's confidence eroding to quite an extent, because you're like, I'm getting no feedback
So
whatsoever.
insecurity is not bad after all. You know
It's
what I'm
not.
saying?
It's an avenue for growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It depends where you are, what you're doing in life, whom are you facing. And I think that's the best thing, isn't it?
I think just like anything, it's a prompt for something that you need to improve, right? So that insecurity has a negative connotation. I think, for example, if you're in a relationship with someone and you set a boundary and they don't like the boundary, but they refer to it as being insecure, that has a negative connotation to it, and so therefore you're going to feel it in a negative way. I don't know if I've ever heard someone being or feeling insecure in a positive way, right? Is there a positive connotation to feeling insecure? No, but there could be a positive outcome, right? So whatever the situation is that we're talking about, maybe it's something that you need to address. Take the very same situation in your relationship. Okay, you deem this thing as insecure. Let's talk about it and get a positive outcome and see what we can agree to be maybe the new boundary, or whatever it is in that instance.
And it's very well said. I think insecurity inherently is a negative word because it is the antonym to security.
Right.
Right. But the outcome inevitably should be the positive, which is essentially that we have grown from it, we have conquered it, or we have at least in the least understood it.
Yes.
Right. If you understand it, then you can set
the
a framework.
word
and all that stuff.
has been thrust upon you all. You know what I'm saying? On all of us.
Yes.
Especially in a relationship, what I'm talking about, there is always insecurity.
Well, yeah.
If if a girl is not answering your calls, maybe for a couple of hours or for that day,
Oh, yeah.
goodness me. and if you, the same, vice versa, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the next thing is your heart starts beating, starts pumping.
But to his point, actually, at the end of the day, it comes back down to confidence. If you have that confidence within yourself, who you are, what you represent, what you bring to the table, then that feeling of insecurity shouldn't necessarily arise. I'm not saying it won't.
It'll arise, but
No,
it
it
will
will.
pass.
But it will. Yes, exactly. But it will pass. Yeah.
But it will always come back in one
It's
one
like a
way or
trigger.
the
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
And it's never that I've done with insecurities in my life. No. You can never be secure.
Yeah.
You can never be secure in your job. You can never be secure and say, guarantee I'll wake up tomorrow morning. You can never be secure in anything.
So then it goes back to the question you asked, right? How do you identify it?
How do you
Because
identify it?
identification is the first step, right?
Exactly.
To then addressing it,
Exactly.
right? So
Is there another way of identifying it other than the way that you feel?
Then how do you overcome it?
Yeah.
Let's do the final. How do you overcome
Insecurity.
insecurity?
Well, like we say, it's about believing in yourself, right? We're all, 40-plus-year-old men speaking hopefully with other 40-plus-year-old men and maybe even younger.
Younger, yeah.
And the truth is that, believing in yourself is a skill. It's not something that just comes naturally to us as men or as human beings. It's something which, you have you go through your education system, you grow from a child into a teenager, into an adult, and then you go through your working life, you gain your experiences, and the confidence that you gain comes from an amalgamation of all of these experiences together. And so then your belief in yourself is based upon all of those things. It's easy to forget, by the way. Sometimes you forget just how skilled you are, just how much experience you have, just how much you've done with your life, just how much adversity you've gone through, just how much hardships you've gone through in terms of relationships and otherwise. It's easy to forget all of those things, but we have them all inside of us. We've archived them. And so we need to be able to reach into the bag and pull out the skill set that we have sometimes when we're faced with things like insecurity, I think.
Sumit?
I think, man, there's this one beautiful takeaway I have from this, and I was just literally thinking while you were speaking. once you've identified an insecurity, which I think is the absolute biggest challenges that you're going to face, because oftentimes when we're facing an insecurity, we're not thinking about the insecurity.
Or we might
We're
not
just
want to-
dealing with the fallout of it.
Yeah, and we might not want to admit it either.
Yeah, we don't want to admit it. It's hurting our ego. It's causing pain to us, right? Let's just say you have the ability to understand that insecurity is a word that no longer needs to be used. It needs to be confidence or lack of, right? So we walk, let's say every day or maybe like a certain period of time, we've got a full glass of confidence. My takeaway would be that confidence is going to get eroded with every experience we're going to have, every interaction we're going to have. Something or the other is going to get to chip away at that wall that we built, the brick wall. My takeaway when I was thinking about it was find things that you're good at and double down on them.
Yep.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
confidence doesn't care where it comes from.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? So if you're good at chess, man, get to play chess with someone and keep winning the games.
Keep winning the
right?
games, yeah.
It doesn't matter if someone told you you're insecure because your muscles are smaller.
Exactly.
Just like, yeah, but I'm kick-ass at chess.
Exactly.
Right? The confidence
Exactly.
still pops up and it
Yeah.
kind of props you
Yeah.
up. So there's
Yes.
it's the same glass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a balance that it offsets some of the other insecurities and allows you to offset the suffering and the pain that's registered with insecurity based off of a replacement. It's like a nicotine patch for a
Yeah,
cigarette.
for cigarettes.
That's
Now,
what
I
it is.
mean, most of the thoughts which run through your mind never happens.
Very true.
Throughout the day, if kind of your boss calls you and says, I need to meet you tomorrow at 9 sharp, which has never happened before, trust me, you'll never sleep. However good, however you're confident you are.
Yeah.
You
It's
will-
the we need to talk conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see? But then when you walk in and say, hey, congratulations, this is what happened. Good. I wanted to wish you because I'm going on leave. So can you handle this? And you are like, oh, I spent all this 12, 24 hours, just sweating and thinking what would happen.
Yeah.
So overall, just be confident of what you are,
Remember
in
your
what you
strengths.
are.
Yeah.
Remember your strengths. Tragedies will hit you. Stay put. Face the consequences. Because it'll come a time when you pass all that, and as you said in your previous episode, when you turn back and said, this was good for me. So face it. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This was, the outcome of what we spoke about. See you in our next episode. Cheers.